Whether I was prepared for leadership, the answer is yes.
Hello and welcome to Unspoken here on Universal TV Africa, UTV Africa. My name is Maduka Ojumadu. This show is Unspoken, where we talk about unspoken facts, unspoken truths about people and things. I'm sure you hear a lot of things in the news, on social media, even rumors that fly in the air about people, about certain situations, about certain things. Well, they would say that there are no truths and lies absolutely nowadays. There are just facts. But the old saying that the truth is sacred still applies. So on this show, we'll bring in people, especially politically exposed people, public figures, to come and talk about things concerning their persons and their actions and decisions, which may be or are really misconstrued and lies are being told about them. And they'll be here to dispel those misgivings, those lies, and those bits of misinformation. I won't be hosting this show alone today. I brought along with me my big brother and my friend Steve. So Steve, thank you for joining me.
Well, it's a pleasure sharing this stage with you. Nice to be here.
Thank you.
Welcome, Nigerians.
And of course, we won't be doing this without our guest. He's already seated here. He is a former public servant, an academic, a teacher, and a politician. He's the immediate past governor of Abia State. Let's welcome His Excellency Okezie Victor Ikpeazu, PhD. Dr. Ikpeazu, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Maddox. Thank you for having me.
Welcome, Your Excellency.
Thank you,
Nice
Steve.
to see you again.
Nice to see you, honestly.
All right, so Dr. Ikpeazu, you are the immediate past governor of Abia State, and just like any other politically exposed person, any other public official, I'm sure so many things have been said about you, and you have a lot to say. There's this tendency for people in office to really not speak much, or even air their opinions about certain things. It's usually when they leave office, then they'll start saying things, and you'll be like, but this man was saying something different when he was in office. But then again, there are things people say about you, and people believe them also. And when you deny them or try to say the truth about them, it's usually a challenge. And I know there are so many things about you that are out there that may not be as true as they seem. You help us to make sense of them today. But first of all, let me ask you, is it fair to say you're retired now? You have left public life, you're now a private person. And like Ruben Abati said, his phone stopped ringing when he left us. I didn't see any phone around here. Is your phone still ringing?
Thank you very much. My phones are still ringing. I have not retired. I'm just resting because life is about stages. From time to time, you pull back, recalibrate yourself, and then launch into the next phase of life. Actually, there's a whole major difference between the persona Okezie Ikpeazu and Governor Ikpeazu, as he was then known. Okezie Ikpeazu is a teacher, naturally.
So tell us, growing up, what did you envision yourself to become? Where did you expect to end up as a person in life? And did you meet up with your expectations of yourself?
My target was to be a scientist and a merchant of knowledge. But my career path took a kink when I became the chairman of my local government, courtesy of the former Governor Ojuzo.
Ojuzo Kalu.
Yes. So I did that for like 7 months.
You wanted to, or probably your people needed you to come serve?
My people, actually, led by some of our members in the House of Assembly. They came and then literally conscripted me. Some people would want to know if I prepared myself to be a governor or whatever.
The rumor has it that you were an unprepared governor. They just carried you on their head and threw you on the seat.
They are partially right, because I'm not a hypocrite. Nobody comes out of his mother's womb to say he's going to be a governor, unless you're not a serious-minded person. I have also come to realize that those who go to the mountaintop to say they are prepared for leadership are those that are least prepared. They are those that are least prepared. Because before I left office, if you ask me today, what is your greatest achievement in Abia? I'm not going to talk about the roads, the flyover, the telehealth initiative, the EGB Economic City initiative, and all of that. I'm going to tell you that I bequeathed an industrial plan. I bequeathed a long-term development plan. So these are some of the things. I started the Aba and Omoahi and Ohafia master plan. They didn't have any. Collaborating with UN Habitat. These are foundational. Because whatever you want to do about economic development anywhere in the world starts with geography. Without geography, Singapore wouldn't be where they are. Without geography, Dubai wouldn't be where they are. You must ask yourself, okay, why do you have to take a fishing net to Yobe?
Yes.
I mean, so it's about geography.
Sure.
So if you don't do a master plan, if you don't do a long-term development plan, and I want to seize this opportunity to tell us that Nigerians should begin to ask the right questions. We should be united by our common focus for development, be it in education, be it in health. Everybody should know where we are driving to. It doesn't matter who is the driver. That is what other. So we key and marry that vision and begin to pursue that vision. So we quarrel with you if you begin to derail from that vision. This man comes, throws away, criticizes everything, yanks off everything. That is the laziest form of leadership.
So you became governor. Some people say you were an accidental governor. You were conscripted. To be specific, your immediate predecessor, Chief Theodore Hamifula or GTA Oji, you were more like his stooge, giving him a third term by proxy. You were just a puppet governor. You didn't have a mind of your own.
I had that. Well, I think what their problem is that my predecessor, like every other politically exposed person, had his enemy. I perhaps would have been more popular if I quarreled with my predecessor. But I'm not that kind of person. Of course, when you want to seek high office, you seek endorsements from people. Those who say they don't want to seek endorsement or are just being hypocritical, because they also go behind the door to seek the same endorsement. There's nobody, including the people that are governor today, that has aspired to that position even before me that did not seek the support of the incumbent. Everybody does that. But I held several conversations. If somebody wants to support you, the person has a right to also ask you a few questions. Your vision, what you want to do, what you are going to do about his own legacies, and all of that. And from my training, it would have been quite unlike me, unlike what my family will do, for me to stab somebody that was that benevolent and kind to give me endorsement at the time I needed that endorsement. If he told me things that that would have been unacceptable to me going forward, I will walk away. Because there is nothing I can walk away from.
But the perception was that you were powerless. He imposed people on you, imposed his son as Speaker of the State House of Assembly. He wasn't even qualified to be a Speaker. He was the first time Assemblyman. He was made a Speaker to keep you in check. If you do anyhow, you'll be impeached.
No. That wasn't it. I have told you the first reason. One is, morally speaking, give me another opportunity today, give me another opportunity tomorrow. Once I agree with you, I'm not likely going to pay evil for good. I will not do it.
But your predecessor rebelled against the person who put him in.
And that is him. I'm writing my own CV. Everybody will write his CV.
Or is it because of the oath you were taking to India to swear? we saw copies.
You got me there.
We saw copies
Online,
of
yes.
the undertaking. What's the
You
name
see,
of the shrine? It will kill you if you
that
didn't obey him.
that it trended for like 3 years. Until my little daughter asked me, "Daddy, did you really go to India?" That was the day I decided to
Confront it.
arrest, to confront the person who started sharing that useless news. Luckily, and even as I speak, I've traveled widely, but I've never been to India in
You've
my
never
life.
been to India?
In my life.
Or did
Unless
you
I went-
sign that
unless
somewhere?
I went spiritual.
Somewhere halfway to India. It's possible.
No, no,
Here you could go to India
see,
They
spiritually.
could send his photograph.
You see, nobody.
Or did you go to the Indian embassy? in
Okay, let me
Nigeria
put
to
the
sign
let me
it?
put the record straight. Nobody, at no point during the conversation to become governor or to run the election or whatever, at no point did anybody mention it to me. To say,
Swear an oath.
even in his house, even with the Bible.
You didn't sign an undertaking even without
If
India.
you bring paper and pen or bring anything like shrine or suggest it, I will walk away. Even tomorrow.
Because this is very easy to believe because it looks like it is a precedent in Abia. We saw videos purportedly showing your predecessor swearing an oath at Okija Shrine.
Okija
before.
Shrine.
So it looks like it's a pattern.
No,
that-
sincerely, I can't answer. Whenever you sit down with my predecessor, he will answer that. But God bless Theology, he never confronted me. I think he's a Christian, and he's a good Christian. He never confronted me. There were no conditions and nothing. But the only thing was questions about how do you intend to develop Abia? What are you going to do about my legacies? And all of that. Back to your number 2 question. Chinedu Orji was my friend.
It's no longer your friend.
No, I mean at that time.
Okay,
He's my friend.
all right.
So he there was at no point was it a conversation with the father that he was going to, if I don't make him speaker or whatever. No. There was nothing like that. But the politics of the House of Assembly is entirely different from our politics. The House of Assembly had a speaker. After a while, they had problem with that speaker. Another speaker came. Another speaker came. I think in quick succession, he was the third or fourth speaker. And immediately the House of Assembly people said, "This is the person we want as the speaker." It wasn't my remit to say no to that. Even if I did, but the way I ran House of Assembly in my time, even during my state executive council meetings, is that you have an opinion. And I have respect for separation of powers. If House of Assembly says this is the person they want, I will be stupid if I cannot work with that person. Because whosoever you throw at me, all I need to do is to bring the conversation to the table and we'll talk about it. I don't think they will bring somebody that is stupid that will want to do things that are not tenable. So I don't really care. I can say things like balancing, zoning, and all of that. Once it fits into that mode, that the person is coming from the right area, it doesn't matter.
But
work with the person.
Chinedu Orji was seen as too powerful. He was more or less a parallel governor to you, and he could have his way with everything.
No. I had moments that I disagreed with him. I had moments that we agreed. But whenever we agree and align ourselves and we are pulling in one direction, people get scared. People like others to hurt themselves. I don't know where you come from, but in my culture, if our people see what do they call cock, rooster, two of them fighting, they go and put knife
To
so
pin
that
them
they will fight to
can
the death.
to the death. Yes.
I was in a hurry to achieve things. I can't come back to my people or to Abia people or to Nigerians and say that in my 8 years I fought and I fought. I kept fighting. No. If I'm smart, then I should be able to say in my 8 years there was peace. Because it is the energy you need to fight, it's still the energy you need to work. But sometimes in Nigeria, people enjoy the drama. And when the fight ensues, it is at the expense of real development. It is at the expense of certain indices, infant, maternal mortality, life expectancy, how many children out of school, how many, these are the things that suffer.
The human development indices.
They are the things that suffer. Sustainable development goals, what are we doing in this direction? But whether you have fought, yes, you have fought, but you were not brought there to fight.
The fight doesn't impact positively
Exactly.
on development and governance.
Exactly. So I needed to do everything to make sure that there was peace. I'm not surprised that nobody remembers me as somebody who ran Abia and there was peace everywhere. Because I know that they wouldn't want that.
It's taken for granted.
Yes.
So, talking of developing Abia, sir, the last time I would just mention that I saw you was, I know the Guild of Editors wanted to come and have a meeting, and you insisted that you weren't going to have us in Umahia. That was in Aba. And we went to Aba. And yes, before then, I had been to Aba about twice. Well, there was a day I was telling the story that when the first time I went, I told myself I wasn't going to go to Aba ever again. But somehow we got there, and Aba was somehow there was new life coming up and all that. But they still say Aba boy didn't develop Aba. Where did you meet Aba? And were you happy with where you left Aba?
Let me rephrase.
Okay.
You were supposed to be the savior of Aba. Aba was already in a bad shape, but you did absolutely nothing for Aba.
Okay. I'll try not to look at what is happening today because I have said it elsewhere. Former governors speak in a certain way, and I'm not going to critique the incumbent government. But when I became governor in 2015, and I say this before camera, there was no road through which you could access Aba.
That's
Whether you are coming from
Ekotepene. Okay.
You can't
Or Port Harcourt.
Or Port Harcourt, you can't enter Aba. If you manage and you are in Aba already, you can't go to Ariaria.
Some of these roads are federal roads.
Yes, some of them are federal roads. I'm coming. You can't go to Isuikwuato Market.
Okay.
You can't even go to the shopping plaza, the one they call a core.
Okay.
You can't go to Henry Market. These are the major markets in Aba at that time. You can look at those roads, Ehere, Omola, and Ukebu roads. Before I left, I was able to deliver Ngwa Road. I was able to deliver Fox Road. I was able to deliver Isuikwuato Road. For the first time in 30 years, didn't Isuikwuato Market. Then I was able, from the Owerri flank, I was able to deliver Abo Owerri Road, complete with street lights. Then I said, okay, I must bypass Aba for those coming from Ekotepene and heading to Onitsha through Owerri. So I created a bypass. So I did Obikabe to Obikabe at Obo Hill. You don't have to pass through Abo Owerri Road again.
Yeah, I know that road.
Then I did another one, Arumejije Road, along that same flank that will bust at this rate. So I completely ventilated Aba from that axis. Then on Ariaria, for the first time, you can fly Fox Road and hit Aba Port Harcourt Expressway, which was not possible because of Ukumango. For decades, more than 40 years. Apart from that, I did MCC as an adjoining road. I now also did Umule. So, Ariari alone, I created 3 roads that will exit you from Ariari. And then I hosted an Aba fashion fair here and invited people, members of diplomatic corps and whatever. And from the one we held here, the next one was in New York. Because the diplomatic community were excited at what our people were doing. In fact, they were particularly excited at the suits that our people were, So I went everywhere. I went to Turkey with Abatelos. Then I sent 30 Aba youth to China to go and learn how to do shoes. And built a NASCO, a automated shoe factory in Aba. Before I left, I also commissioned a garment factory that will employ 500 people at once.
The garment factory, they said it was an illusion. There was no real garment factory in Aba.
You've not seen the pictures.
Yeah. Probably pictures from somewhere else.
I saw the shoe factory.
Yeah, shoe factory.
See, complete with generator. Turkish people came because the vendors for the equipment were Turkish people. They came and trained the tailors in situ there. Let me say this to you. I don't have business engaging in propaganda. Because if there's something that I didn't do, yes, I did not do it. I never promised anybody that I can do everything. And nobody can do everything. Why should I tell a lie? I'm surprised and shocked that people sit in high office and they tell lies.
That actually brought me to the issue of power. When the Professor Barton Naja and co were commissioning, and everything was saying, I don't want to go. I don't want to put you in a corner. But some other person was taking the credit and all that. But somewhere along the line, the fact came out that initially was that you were frustrating it. Then somewhere along the line, it came out that there were commitments that Abia State government made, and you made every payment that was supposed to be made, everything that was supposed to be made. What happened? Why couldn't you deliver that project while you were in power if you were so?
Okay. In the first place, the power ecosystem in Nigeria is a convoluted challenge. Let me not say problem. And that one in particular, geometrics or whatever in particular, was at a point where it was almost hopeless. In fact, whenever I see Professor Naji, I used to tap him on the shoulder and say, "Sir, how are you this? You are a symbol of resilience. How did you survive? If you know how much money, everything that man has worked for in his life, both in America and elsewhere, with his family, and you came to your country and you say, I have an idea. I'm an expert in this." So technically speaking, he's an expert in this. Two, he wanted to say, okay, this is a model. If it works, we can replicate. In fact, I lost a business that we went to prospect in China to come and do one of the biggest textile mills in sub-Saharan Africa from a very rich Chinese. And the man said, before I will accept to come to Aba, I will have a major stake in the power industry. So I flew Professor Naji to China with Nda Pascal.
Pascal Dozier.
Yes.
So is it a coincidence that it came on stream just immediately after you left? In fact, 8 months into the new administration.
Yeah.
The current administration got a lot of kudos for it because they said the bottlenecks that were in place when you were there, the current administration was able to get it out of the way.
Here again.
So is it a coincidence?
Here again, there's no comparison between what I did in my time and what the current administration is doing, because they are still in power and they're working. Like I said, I don't want to discuss what the current administration is saying, but I congratulate Aba people for the 247 power as vocalized by those who make the media whatever they're making. Remember that my vision is to create a better life for Abia people in my time as governor, using trade and commerce, for instance. And I said road was an enabler, security was an enabler. Yeah. Even the power, electricity thing was supposed to be an enabler, and all of those. The closure on that electricity one is, well, I did the much I could I did not spare any energy. I didn't spare any resources. If there's anything left to be done for that job to be
Delivered.
completed and delivered to our people, for the purposes of driving and catalyzing economic development, because my people don't need so much. We don't need palliative in terms of handouts. We can make money if the environment is okay. So let the next person now do whatever it takes, because it's a legacy project. It's something that 2, 3, 4 administrations to complete it may, because there's nothing like that before now in that environment. And then we should go to the end of the tunnel and see whether the production is happening, whether the people are, whether it has reflected on there, because there has to be a limit to propaganda. There has to be a limit to propaganda. And then my fear, the problem of propaganda is that, and I'm a victim. My right leg, I have a bad toe. That toe, because I used to be an avid soccer player growing up. I had problem with that toe. I went to play soccer illegally because during my father would say, "This is time for siesta. After siesta, this is time for homework," and I will break. Either I sacrifice my siesta or homework. I go and play. So somebody broke my toe. And when they took me to the person that will help me, the local orthopedic woman, I started showing, her name was Ganga. I started showing Ganga the left leg. So Ganga I was pretending to be shouting, Ganga, I was showing her. But today, I still have that bad toe. I'm even looking for
that.
You played yourself.
That is the problem of propaganda. So if you do propaganda, you don't agree with the problem. If you like, say that the idea is here, whereas the idea is here. If you like, say it's it. But the day you come out and say, there is problem, this is where we are, then people can give you ideas. People can pray with you if they don't have anything to. But once you live in denial, and the thing is that you do a painted sepulchre, you do something. At the end of the day, the people will say, we can't get the results of it, we can't see. And then I fear. I'm afraid of people who have conscience to use counterfeit money to buy something from, I don't know how to say it. It's in vernacular that they say it. That he will counter go when and he may forbid the money.
Yes.
It's still in the family.
It's still in the family.
It's in the family. You go and spend their counter. You give them by
Fake currency.
fake currency.
That is
pay your relative.
So propaganda is not good.
So it is all propaganda that the Abia allocations were not properly used for what they are supposed to use. You were not allowing TALG and his family to have free access to the...
No. It's not possible under my watch. And they never asked. There was no day TLG and his members of his family asked me to go and bring. It is not even possible. I am not somebody you can tell that kind of thing because I will not take. So if I'm not going to take it, why? If I can't steal for myself, why should I steal for you? So the crime was that I refused to quarrel with somebody who didn't do anything to me. If while I was in government, TLG could come with a request. He could say, could you help me appoint this person as special assistant, special advisor, and all of that?
Legitimate.
Of course, yes. At times, he will also give me a caveat. If you cannot do it, leave it. At times he will say, if you cannot do it, leave it. Because people were coming to him also. So I don't apologize to anybody. Give me the opportunity 20, 30 times. Anybody who does a favor to me, I will not pay back with evil. No, I will not pay back with evil. My conscience would, if I don't want your favor, I'll tell you I don't want your favor. But once I agree with you, I stick with you.
Right.
That is how I want my children. That's what I want on my grave.
We said we are still far from the grave, but then I think we will come
We'll be going for a break. When we come back, we'll be looking at a very controversial issue, the Osisoma Center Table. And that question, Obasarunu. We'll be back after this time out. Don't go anywhere.